Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Look, I'm gonna fix my hair. It's Friday. It's Friday already. Seemed like the week just started, but we're at the end of the week. It is a Friday, and we're already on to the weekend. I tell you, the year is going fast. It's going fast. And I'm asking you this morning, what are you doing with your one? One. That's all we have. We have one life to live. No more, only one. I don't know of anybody that's ever come back and has been on record anyway, except the man up above. That's the only one that's been able to come back. So what are you doing with your life? How are you? How are you situated? What are your plans? What have you already done that you know you can do better going forward? I'm always looking at this one. What is one all about? You know, we just never know that. Certainly, we were born alone, unless we came with a twin, and even that was probably one came in first and then the other one. So still, it's one, and then there were two. I understand that, but one is really half of two. Okay, so once again, it's always about what is the one life, the one thing that you can say about your life that you're working on, that you're dealing with, that you're really happy about. I'm hoping when I come into this time when I'm talking with you that you say, you know what, I know what my purpose is. I know what I'm doing with my life, and I'm going to try to live every day like I'm dancing, no one's watching. That little famous phrase, dance like no one is ever watching you. Speak and always be clear, and just acknowledge what it is that you want in your life and what you don't want. To me, this pandemic has given people great pause to do some assessment. And I think some people have probably done some great growth. I mean, exponentially. I believe that growth is possible during this time, to get to things that you didn't think you were going to get to, or just re-examine things. And maybe after this, your life will be better. The one will be on the way of feeling, so much more complete, or in a position to really go forward. Good morning, Juanita, my little friend. I tell you, I love Juanita. Y'all have to meet Juanita. Juanita is a cutie pie. And she's a travel agent. One of these days I'm really gonna go on a trip. She gonna have to be the guide, because if we go to Germany, I can't speak German, and I remember going, and all I wanted to do was just eat bread. Okay, all I ate was bread and meat while I was there. But anyway, I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be better going back. I won't eat as much bread. I'm still gonna eat some, but I won't eat as much as I used to. But anyway, we're gonna talk about one life. Let me ask you this question this morning: are you stuck? Yes, we're all gonna be stuck. It's going to be stuck on whatever it is. It's going to be stuck. Good morning, Joan. We'll be stuck on people. We can be stuck on absolutely anything. Anything. We can be paused forever. We can be in pause. But the fact is that we're going to talk about the one life we have. One. We're not. The life is, to me, it's an extra to what I'm talking about. But the word today is one. And a lot of times you only get one chance to do things. You get one time to enter something. You get one time to make money, because they always get, you ever get those phone calls or those little messages on your phone that says, you only have one time and you have like 30 minutes to do it in. Well, I let my 30 minutes go because I don't like that one. Now, I do like my one, but I don't like their one telling me that I only have one time to do it. Sometimes I answer to those things, but not very often. But anyway, we're going to read a poem. And this is by Anonymous. Okay, I don't know who Anonymous is. Okay, it could be a good friend that you've met along the way. It could be just somebody that's just good with words. But I like this poem. It's called One Life. It says, one song can spark a moment. One flower can wake the dream. One tree can start a forest. One bird can herald spring. One smile begins a friendship. One hand clasp lifts a soul. One star can guide a ship at sea. One word can frame the goal. One vote can change a nation. One slim beam lights a room. One candle wipes out darkness. One laugh will conquer gloom. One step must start a journey. One word must start a prayer. One hope will raise our spirits. One touch can show you care. One voice can speak with wisdom. One heart can know what is true. One life can make a difference. One life. That's all we have. So, when you see people, you don't know if you're going to see them again. So be kind. Hello. Glad to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you stay safe. I'm always trying to get my little affirmations out to people because we just don't know the uncertainty. I tell you, I think I told you all that I took that COVID-19. I took the COVID-19 test, not once, but twice. The first time I took it, and the results never came back. Never heard from anybody. The second time I took it, which was a week and maybe 2 days later, they said, oh, well, we had to fire the company that did it before. So I did it again, and the second time I did it, they said, well, you'll know in 3 days. Well, that would have been Tuesday of last week. I should have known. I just got the results today from 12 days ago. So that'll tell you that the testing, I know our leader mentions often that the testing is great and it's good and it's this and that, but I question sometimes that about the testing, and as I said, I went, good morning, Marie. I went and I had it done, and I'm, just trying, I'm always cautious and trying not to go too many places, and I'm always covered up and, probably got on too much stuff most of the time. But, of course it did. It came out back negative today, so I'm certainly pleased with that. But that's a long time, and my thing is if you are positive and you don't hear for 13, 14, 18, 20 days, you could have done a lot of damage in that time. And I guess that's my point. You could have done some damage in the time. So anyway, one life is important. One life makes a difference. I'm hoping that my life makes a difference in some of the lives that come into this little space with me. And today's word is one. So when we speak to one, we're really looking at, it says it's the lowest cardinal number, and it's half of 2, which is what I mentioned before. It is the lowest number that we have. And so therefore, I consider myself, strong and able to do many things, but it's only one of me. And I admit to that. I admit to me being one. That's all I am. And it says one means that it could be, good morning, Kathleen, good morning, T. It could be a question of singular or being single, being the sole one, being solitary, being specific, being separate, being particular, being special, having no one else. That means one. You are alone unto your own. And some people may find that to be very difficult, but when I think of it about my life, that's when it makes sense to me. It makes sense to me when I'm thinking about who I am among so many people. The world has millions and millions of people. So for me to be in a position where I'm able to see, to walk, to talk, to feel, to taste. All of my senses are still good. I'm blessed. That's what I'm going to call it. Somebody may say I'm good. I am. That's wonderful. But the point I'm making is that one is special because you only have one of yourself. So you have to make yourself special. Good morning, Robin. My little friend. That's my little friend from the Counseling Association. We've known each other for years. Every once in a while I get excited because I get to see a few names that I haven't been able to talk too much. But anyway, I love everybody that's there. Love you, Robin. Glad you could join today. So the excitement about one is that it's important. You are important. If you're not important to anybody else, you're important to yourself. You should be anyway. So one talks about the O of one is for only. You only have you, only you. That's the one. Now you may have family, you may have a husband, you may have a wife, you may have all of these other things. But when push comes to shove, there's only you. Okay? And that's when you listen to some of the things that they talk about recently with people dying alone because no one could be there with them. To me that would be sad. But on the other hand, that was what was in the plan. It wasn't supposed to be any other way. That's why I'm always talking about, for me, I know what only is. Even though I was born in a family of 10 and the baby of 10, I always felt like I was the only child. Why? Just because when I needed attention, I demanded it. When there was something I wanted to do, I asked it. I asked, could I do stuff? And I would engage myself with whomever I was dealing with, parents, teachers, whatever. And they would always say to me, I don't know where that one came from. That one. They would always say that one. I don't know where that one came from. My mother would tell all of her friends, she said, she's just so different from all the other kids. I was just who I was, and there was only one of me, only one of me. So anyway, it says when you're only, it says the only one or nothing else. You are the sole or exclusive one. It says you are the one and only. You are alone. You're barely, because sometimes they said only is barely because there's not anything else around you. You're the individual. You're matchless. You're maybe isolated. It says that you're exclusive. You're apart. You are the one. So only just suggests by even the word that there's might not be anything else there but you. Because a lot of times people will give you the details of what you're doing, but they never tell you that you're the only one doing it. You don't find that out until you ask the questions. And sometimes the devil is in the details. We don't get down to asking the questions until we get there and find that there's more work than what one person could do, but they need you. They need you. So they don't tell you everything. They don't tell you that you be working and pulling out your hair and biting your fingernails in between every little thing that's being required of you. But we get it done. A lot of times we get it done or we quit. When we can't get it done, we just move on to something else. Good morning, Kathleen. So we move on to something else. That's just the way it is. So anyway, the N of one is narrowly. Good morning, Rodolfo. Narrowly. Think about that. Narrowly. I like that word. By only a small margin, a smidgen. You're barely there. Like there was a poem I wrote one time called Barely Middle Class. This is after I had gone to school. I had my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, but I was just miserable because I wasn't making enough money to really say it was more than beans and franks. And I, to this day, you cannot give me beans and franks. And I didn't like it then. So what I did is I would put the beans in the franks. This is terrible. I'd eat the franks and throw the beans away. What was the purpose? I just could have eaten the franks, huh? Only. Okay, that's what only does. That's what the one makes a decision about. And sometimes the one is crazy. So anyway, when I think about narrowly, that means I was barely there, and that's what I ask people. Are you into stuff? Are you really present? Are you really listening? Are you really on track? Because sometimes people aren't. They say it, they look the part, but then you have to talk about the results. What'd you get done? You know, and I don't know. I've told people before. Some of you may already know this about me. Generally, if we're working on a project and I'm moving it along, I've given you homework to do. So you may have a little bit to do here and maybe some more to come back with. And people would always say, "How do you remember all that stuff?" Don't know. I don't know. Something in my brain that says, "Well, you didn't finish. I asked you to do." And they kind of laugh at me. They say, "Well, I was going to get around to it, but I didn't." And sometimes that's what we do. We never get around to all the things that we need to do. And that's why I said our lives, we only have one life. Good morning, Claydine. We only have one life. So if we only have one life, we need to live it to its fullest. Okay? So when we're narrowly into our lives, or we're narrowly into project, we're narrowly into people, that means we're barely there. It's a small margin that we're involved in. It says only just, barely, scarcely, hardly, by the skin of. You've heard that phrase before. By the skin of one's teeth. That means I barely made it in the room before the bell rang. Okay, that's a lot of the students. Okay, that's just life. That is life. We're always on, somebody's clock. But what I'm asking you to do, look at your own clock. Look at what one is for you. What is your life all about? What are you doing with your life? Your one, because somebody can help you live your life by obligating you all the time. And next thing you know, life is just about over and you haven't done the things that you wanted to do. And one of the things I talk about in the whole "Are you stuck?" it really gets down to, what are you sitting on that you should get off of and do, or give it up altogether? Remember, we talked about just realizing that sometimes if we're never going to go back and finish anything, then you would give it up. Give it up. Don't even have it as anything. You isolate yourself from doing it. You don't discuss it. It's no longer a part of your mission or your vision. And sometimes we have to get back down to almost treating ourselves like we might be a corporation. We might be a business in order to get anything done. Because to me, the pay isn't always in money. The pay may be the time you earn of not worrying. The pay may be the rest you can get at night. That's pay. The pay may be the accolades other people say, "I'm glad you gave that up because it was really wearing you down." That's pay. So sometimes we don't even know that we're narrowly into something. We're narrowly into a project, narrowly into a relationship, narrowly into ourselves. And what I'm trying to do is get you back down to being into yourself. If nobody else, know who you are, know what you want, know what you're about, know where you want to go, what you want to do. Who are you? Who are you? The last letter of one is emptiness. And the reason I chose emptiness is because a lot of times when we are one, and I've been listening to the news and talking to a few people, and they've been telling me of their little periods of depression where they just feel like they just feel where they're lobbed low, and they don't know why. And a lot of times our livelihood in life, we've been trained, we've been organized to really rally in people. But to get down to be able to rally for ourselves, we have trouble with it. We don't always do well with pumping up ourselves on what we've accomplished or what we want or where we want to go or what we want to see or what we want to do. We can't do it. We can't do it because it's just generated from somebody else before we can get excited about it. And a lot of times that's because we're listening to someone else's opinion of us. We're listening to someone else's marginal, marginal leaps for us. Say what I suggest, I recommend. And sometimes the recommendations are good, but we have to believe it. We have to believe it and make it a part of our one. But if it's not a part of our one, we need to be honest about that. Not part of me. Can't do that. Not interested in that. Or I gave it up. I no longer do that. And sometimes, good morning, Maurice, sometimes we don't ever get around to saying what we really understand about our own accomplishments. It's not others. It's ourselves. It's ourselves. So emptiness is a part of one. Because sometimes people are extremely empty if they feel that they have a limited number of friends, or or not everybody's loving them on Facebook, or they tweet and nobody responds, or because there's a social generation. The social generation are those who understand social media so much so that the personal level, it comes in the form of somebody's finger being on a few buttons and kind of giving you an accolade here and there. And so there's an emptiness if they don't get it, and I've had a few young people tell me, I don't like the fact that, nobody's saying anything to my posts. They're not saying anything that I should hear. And what I'm saying to them is, so if you're putting it out there for them to say something that you feel you should hear, then people sometimes cannot read minds, so they don't know that that's what you're searching for. But a lot of us, that's what we want. I mean, publicity is publicity, and sometimes any way we can get it, we'll take it. But what I'm saying to you is, I don't feel empty if no one doesn't write anything on Facebook about me. I don't feel empty if no one, responds to a tweet I put in, or an Instagram. It is what it is. I feel that people are busy, and my life is equally as important to me as someone's life is to them. So therefore, I cannot worry about what somebody doesn't do. It says you can't be added unto if you are full. Okay, that's great. Can't. It says you have to make room for more. Right. You have to make room for yourself too, Maurice, for yourself. I find that so many people wait on other people to make their one feel good. Their one feel good. And a lot of times they don't feel good if they don't hear anything. So they're waiting on others to, as you say, fill them up, make them full. And so I'm saying that I personally, I try not to get down into the emptiness level of me. I don't want to be narrowly in my life. I don't want to be the only in my life. But I know that I'm the only one that certainly will leave this world, because that's ordained. That is just by prescription. It's going to be as it is prescribed. And so I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of that. But I'm saying the life I have right now, I try as much as I can to paint the colors I want to see, paint the songs I want to hear, paint the picture that, I see myself. Because a lot of times we don't even see ourselves. Others see us for us. Okay, I'm just saying that. Y'all know I get funny and when I roll my eyes. But anyway, let's go back to emptiness. Emptiness is containing nothing. Isn't that horrible? I don't want to be the one that contains nothing. It says having none of the usual or appropriate contents. So if there's something missing in your life, you got to worry about it. You deal with it. It says try to engage in those things that make a difference in your life. Absolutely, Joan. Absolutely. What is important to you, not what's important to someone else. In fact, Joan and I had a conversation yesterday speaking of Khalil Gibran and the fact that some of his poetry was just so deep that even though, here he was born in the 1800s, his poems are equally as powerful today. Powerful. And a lot of times we don't realize, even though we might have been born, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, with age comes wisdom. So what we did when we were younger is certainly going to mature to what I call a more discerning space in our lives where we know that what we did before, we may want to do it again, but we may change how we do it. What is a part of that, and what does that become unto us as the one? That would be new to one. That would be different to one, the one person that you are. So emptiness is deserted, feeling devoid, feeling unfilled, feeling dry, hollow, vacant. Wow. Uninhabited. That's to me, those words, they're poignant. You know, they're to me, they have a waste factor to them. You know, the fact that empty means nothing. Empty means I don't have anything to give, and that's not true. We all have something to give, you know. But first, we need to start giving to ourselves. Start, because sometimes we give and give and give, and we have nothing left. And then that leaves us with an emptiness, a loneliness, a narrowed way in our lives, you know, feeling so lost as the one, you know. You have to live your life to make it yours, and somebody that you have as friends, somebody that you have in your family, those are enhancements. But your life is how you decide to live it. You know, you can't live it any other way, no other way. Amen to that. That's right. Amen to that. You know, you can't live your life any other way. And a lot of times we have lived our lives trying to please others. Tell me I'm lying. A man, a woman, the dog, the bird. Look, the bird just going to continue singing if it's one of them kind that sings. And then he's going to fly away. The man or woman, they into you today, may be gone later on this afternoon, or into you while they see you, and then they go to somebody else and see them later on. I'm just saying. You just never know. You just have to know what your one is, how important it is to you, where you want to take your one, where you want to leave your one, okay? And sometimes you got to take and leave your one all in the same period. You just have to. You can't even ask. It says, don't drain yourself completely to, appease others. Right. And a lot of times we do. We are just steadily trying to work it. Like we on a runway. You know, work. Come on now. No. First of all, I'm not a runway model. You know, I can't do all that twisting and turning anymore, you know. When I was younger, I probably did try to please people. But as I get older, I feel, no, I need to be happy these last, you know, hopefully 50 years. Child, if you see me around 50 years later, I will be talking stuff. I probably will be cussing by then. Just letting you know. I don't cuss now, not too much. Unless I'm referring to my mother, because she enjoyed a good cuss. But anyway, I try not to do that too much. But here's your questions for today. It says, don't drain yourself. That's right, I'm not draining myself. In fact, I've cut these down so that I try to stay within 30, 35 minutes. Occasionally, I go to 40-something. But I try to keep them where people have time enough to jump on in, listen, and then going back to whatever they're doing. But it says, tell the youth all the time, dare to be different. That's right. Absolutely, Maurice. Dare to be different. I always tell my daughter, dare to be different. I was always different. You know, I was singing when I should have been writing. You know, I was writing when I should have been doing something else. I was reading when I should have been asleep. So always been just one step ahead of what might be next. You know, meaning I was pretty quick. So here's your questions. It says the first question is, what are you doing with your one life? What are you doing with it? Be honest. Write it down. You don't have to tell me. Tell yourself. And that's why I do this, to try to get you to write some things down, to trigger some thoughts, to come up with, and you don't have to write with, look, you don't have to be grammatically correct, okay? Just write Right. Go back and straighten it out later. It's not going to a book signing or anything. Just straighten it out later, but just write. And sometimes the best thoughts will come out when you are just writing. Number 2, are you narrowly on track for being your one? Or do you need many others to tell you who you are as one? Are you narrowly on track being your one? Or do you need many others or even a few others to tell you that you're okay? Don't know. And the last question is, are you empty? Do you feel emptiness? This is a time, I know, the pandemic has probably put a lot of people feeling less than, This is a time for you to find who you are. Good morning, Bobby. How are you? Find out who you are. Come up with some creative stuff. I've seen some things on Amazon. I mean, not Amazon, but on Facebook and in Instagram where people have absolutely created some great stuff. Lost weight, started a book, finished a book, like myself. Just done some things that's what I call just phenomenal turnarounds with their time to do it. Like I told you, I was into Hamilton, and there's a song in there. I always got music in my head, sorry. But there's a song in there that says, I'm not going to waste my shot. To me, this is opportunity right now to be the most creative. Why? Because people don't expect you to be coming to all them social events. Why? Because there are none. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you don't have to let anybody in, and they're not coming in, and you're not going to anyone else's house. So, this is the time to be creative. Come up with something you never imagined you would do before, but you're going to stand on it now. You're going to try something. And I tell you, sometimes when you've tried something that you didn't know you could do, not only do you find out that you could do it, but you do it well. You do it well. And it could even be something that's a new livelihood, where you can sell that stuff, where people want it. People want what you've been creative at. So use your one life wisely. Understand we only have one life. Make your life important, And as this poem just says, the song can spark a moment, okay? A word can frame your goal, a word. I'm hoping that you got a few words from this session that you're going to start doing something on your own that talks about how it will enhance and what I call push forward the wonderfulness about your life. And the last thing, it says, one life can make a difference. We only have one life, so we need to make a difference. What is your difference? I'm hoping that you will work on it. I want you to have a great day. Be safe. Enjoy your weekend. Understand that we all get stuck periodically, but we can move out when it's time. I think for a lot of us, it's time. The pandemic has only told us, that we got time to do it, and we have time to try to stay safe from getting sick. So I thank you. I thank you, Joan and Bobby and Rodolfo and OJ and all the ones that names ran up before that I certainly know. And I found out something yesterday, which I didn't know, is that there's people that have seen my videos, but I didn't know it because their names don't pop up. And I don't know, maybe because we're not friends on Facebook. I don't know. But they never show. But I appreciate each and every one that comes in to this little space with me. I feel that I've been given such a grand opportunity. I love you. I love you. I love you. I'll see you Monday with some other good stuff. Hopefully that we will say, are you stuck? And you're going to say, not today, not today. I'll see you later. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.